Enoch was resting in his bed, sleeping, two extraordinary figures suddenly appeared beside him, greater than any men he had ever encountered on earth. Their faces radiated like the brightness of the sun, and their eyes burned like blazing lamps. From their mouths fire seemed to emerge, and their garments shimmered with what looked like feathers. Their arms, adorned with golden wings, glowed beside his bedside. They called to him softly, "Enoch, Enoch." Startled, he awoke from his slumber, and they spoke with gentle assurance. "Be of good cheer, Enoch, and do not be afraid. The everlasting God has sent us to you, and today you shall ascend with us into the heavens." They lifted him up, placing him upon their wings, and together they soared above the earth, carried by the clouds. Higher and higher they ascended, past the air, and still further into the realm of the ether until they reached the first heaven. There the Elohim revealed to Enoch the human and divine mysteries, and he also learned about the moment when the angels had fallen. As humanity grew and multiplied in those days, many beautiful daughters were born to them. The angels, the children of heaven, saw these women and were filled with desire. They said to each other, "Let's choose wives from among the daughters of men and have children with them." Semjazar, their leader, hesitated and said, "I'm afraid you won't all follow through with this plan, and I alone will be left to bear the great punishment for this sin." But they all responded, "Let's swear an oath together and bind ourselves to this plan, so no one backs out." So they all swore together, binding themselves with a solemn promise. There were 200 of them in total, and they descended to earth during the days of Jared, landing on the summit of Mount Hermon. They named it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves with an oath there. These are the names of their leaders: Semiazaz, their chief, Arakiba, Ramel, Kokabiel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Danel, Ezekiel, Barakijal, Asael, Armaros, Batarel, Ananel, Zakiel, Samsapeel, Satarel, Turel, Jomjael, and Sariel. These were their captains, each commanding groups of 10. Together with these leaders, the rest of the angels took wives from among the women of earth. Each chose one, and they entered into them, defiling themselves. They taught these women magic spells, charms, root cutting, and introduced them to the knowledge of plants. The women became pregnant and gave birth to enormous giants whose height reached thousands of feet. These giants consumed all of humanity's resources, and when humans could no longer provide for them, the giants turned against humanity and began to devour them. They sinned against birds, beasts, reptiles, and fish, and even began to eat each other's flesh and drink blood. The earth itself cried out, accusing the lawless ones. Azazel taught humanity how to make swords, knives, shields, and breastplates. He revealed the secrets of metals, how to work with them, and introduced the crafting of bracelets, ornaments, and the use of antimony. He also taught the art of beautifying the eyes, the value of precious stones, and the use of dyes. Wickedness spread like wildfire. People indulged in sin, committed fornication, and became thoroughly corrupt in their ways. Semjazar taught the knowledge of enchantments and root cutting. Armaros taught how to undo spells. Barakijal shared the secrets of astrology. Kokabel taught about constellations. Ezekiel revealed the knowledge of clouds. Arakiel explained the signs of the earth. Shamsiel revealed the signs of the sun. And Sariel taught the course of the moon. As humanity perished under the weight of their corruption, their cries of suffering rose up to heaven. Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven, and what they saw broke their hearts. Blood flowed across the earth, and lawlessness spread like a plague. They turned to each other in despair and said, "The earth, once peaceful and uninhabited, now cries out with the voices of the suffering. Their cries have reached the very gates of heaven. begging for justice. The souls of humanity were pleading to the holy ones in heaven, asking, "Please take our case before the Most High." In anguish, the angel spoke to the Lord, saying, "O Lord of lords, God above all gods, King of kings, your glorious throne has stood for all generations, and your name is holy and blessed forever. You are the creator of everything, and all things are under your control. Nothing can be hidden from you, for you see all. You see what Azazel has done, how he has led the world into darkness, teaching humanity forbidden knowledge, secrets that were meant to stay in heaven. And Semjaza, who was given authority over his followers, has led them to earth. They have taken human women for themselves, defiling them, and through their sin, the women gave birth to giants. Now the earth is soaked in blood and filled with evil. The souls of the dead cry out to heaven, and their sorrowful voices cannot be silenced. They weep for justice, for the terrible wrongs that are being committed on earth. And you, Lord, you know everything before it happens. You see this devastation, but we don't understand why you allow it. You haven't told us what to do." Then the Most High, the Holy and Great One, finally spoke. His voice thundered with authority, and he sent Uriel to the son of Lamech. "Go to Noah," he commanded, "and tell him, 'In my name hide yourself. The end is near. The whole earth is about to be destroyed by a great flood. Everything will be wiped out. Tell him so he may escape and his descendants may survive, to carry on the generations of the world.'" Then the Lord turned to Raphael and said, "Go, find Azazel, bind his hands and feet, cast him into the darkness, into the desert of Dudael. Dig a deep pit and throw him inside. Pile jagged rocks over him. Let him remain there, buried in darkness, so he may never see the light again. He will stay there forever, and on the day of final judgment, he will be thrown into the eternal fire. But now heal the earth, cleanse it from the corruption brought by the angels, announce the healing of the land, so that not all humanity will perish from the secrets the Watchers revealed. The whole earth has been ruined by what Azazel taught, so let him bear the weight of all sin." The Lord spoke to Gabriel with a heavy command, "Go forth against the unholy offspring, the rebellious and corrupt. Destroy the children born from sin, the children of the fallen Watchers. Set them against each other. Let them battle and wipe each other out, for their days are numbered, and they will not live long." He continued, "And as for their fathers, the Watchers, let no plea they make on behalf of their children be heard. They had hoped for eternal life, thinking their offspring might live for 500 years, but their hopes will be shattered." Then the Lord turned to Michael and said, "Bind Semjaza and his companions, those who have tainted themselves by uniting with women and defiling their purity. When they witness their sons killing each other and see the destruction of those they love, bind them tight in the depths of the earth. They will remain there, imprisoned for 70 generations, until the final judgment, until the day of reckoning that will last forever. On that day, they will be thrown into the fiery abyss, into torment and eternal imprisonment, where they shall never be free. Anyone condemned to destruction will be bound with them, sharing their fate for all generations to come. Wipe away the spirits of the corrupt and the children of the Watchers, for they have wronged humanity. Let all wickedness be cleansed from the face of the earth, and let righteousness and truth take root. Let it be a blessing, a new beginning, where justice and joy will grow forever." The Lord promised, "The righteous will survive, they will thrive, and live long enough to have thousands of descendants. They will live in peace, from their youth to their old age, without fear or sorrow. The earth will be tended with righteousness, flourishing with trees and overflowing with blessings. The most desirable trees will cover the land. Vines will yield an abundance of wine, and the seeds sown in the ground will bear 1,000-fold. Even a small measure of olives will produce 10 presses of oil. Cleanse the earth from all oppression, from every form of evil, sin, and godlessness. Wipe away the filth that has tainted it. Then all the children of humanity will become righteous. Every nation will adore and praise me, and all will worship. The earth will be purified from all defilement, sin, punishment, and torment. Never again will I send such suffering upon it, from generation to generation, forevermore. In those days, I will open the heavenly storehouses of blessings and rain them down upon the earth, rewarding the work and toil of humanity. Truth and peace will walk hand in hand, lasting throughout all the days of the world and across every generation of humankind. Before these events, Enoch had disappeared, hidden away from humanity. No one knew where he had gone or what had become of him. Enoch's life was intertwined with the Watchers, and he spent his days among the holy ones. I, Enoch, bless the Lord of Majesty, the King of all ages. And then the Watchers summoned me, Enoch, the scribe. They called to me and said, Enoch, you scribe of righteousness, go and deliver this message to the Watchers of heaven, those who abandoned their holy and eternal dwelling, who defiled themselves by uniting with women, and behaved like the children of earth. You have brought great destruction to the world. You will have no peace, no forgiveness for your sins. Though you cherish your children, you will witness their violent deaths. You will cry out and lament over their destruction for all eternity, but peace and mercy will never be yours. Enoch went to Azazel, the fallen one, and with a voice firm and resolute, he said, Azazel, you will know no peace. A harsh and unyielding sentence has already been passed against you, and you will be bound by it for eternity. You will find no mercy, no request will be granted to you. All this is because of the wickedness you have taught mankind, the ungodly ways and sinful acts you revealed to them. Enoch then gathered all the fallen Watchers and spoke to them together. A deep fear took hold of them, and they trembled, gripped by terror. Desperate, they pleaded with Enoch, asking him to write a petition for them, to beg for forgiveness on their behalf. They hoped he could read their plea in the presence of the Lord of heaven, for they could no longer lift their faces to the heavens in shame, unable to speak to him after being condemned for their sins. Their guilt weighed down on them like chains. So Enoch did as they asked. He wrote their plea for forgiveness, carefully recording each of their spirit's desires and their deeds, asking for mercy and the extension of their days. Afterward, Enoch went to the waters of Dan, in the land of Dan, to the south and west of Mount Hermon. There, by the water's edge, he read their petition, pouring out their sorrow, until exhaustion overcame him and he fell asleep. And as he slept, visions came crashing down upon him, vivid and filled with judgment. A voice echoed in his dream, commanding him to bring this message to the sons of heaven and rebuke them for their actions. When Enoch awoke, he returned to the Watchers. They were gathered together, weeping in a place called Abel-Jail, between the mountains of Lebanon and Senezer, their faces hidden in grief and despair. With solemn authority, Enoch recounted to them all the visions he had seen while he slept, and there, among their tears, he began to speak words of righteousness, rebuking the fallen Watchers for their transgressions. This is the book of righteousness, containing the words of reprimand to the eternal Watchers, as commanded by the Holy Great One through the vision he revealed to me. In the midst of my sleep, I saw these things, and I now speak them aloud with my human tongue, using the breath given by the Great One to mankind, to communicate and to understand in our hearts. Just as he gave man the power to comprehend wisdom, so too has he given me the power to rebuke the Watchers, the once holy children of heaven. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision I saw the truth. Your request will not be granted, not now, not ever. Judgment has been passed upon you for all eternity. From this moment on, You shall never ascend to heaven again. You will remain bound to the earth, confined in its depths, for all the days of the world's existence. Before this, you will witness the destruction of your beloved sons. You will have no joy in them. They will perish before your eyes, cut down by the sword. Even if you weep, even if you pray and utter all the words I have written, your pleas for their forgiveness and your own will not be heard. And then, in my vision, I was taken by clouds that beckoned me, and a mist surrounded me. The stars and lightning sped me forward, and the winds lifted me, carrying me into the heavens. As I was borne upward, I neared a towering wall made of pure crystal, surrounded by tongues of fire. Fear gripped me. I entered through the fiery tongues and saw before me a grand house made entirely of crystal, with walls shimmering like the tessellated floor beneath my feet, also of crystal. The foundation, too, gleamed with the same brilliance. The ceiling resembled the starry sky, streaked with lightning, and between the lightning, I saw fiery cherubim. The heaven above was as clear as water. Flames blazed around the house, and its doors were consumed with fire. As I stepped inside, I was overwhelmed. It was as hot as fire, but as cold as ice. There was no joy in this place, only dread.